Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I hope you're all doing well, inshallah. Let's begin. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim Bismillahir rahmanir rahim Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli Rabbi zidni ilma Allahumma faqihna fid din Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'an wa 'amalan mutaqabbalan wa rizqan tayyiban Allahumma ahdi qalbi wa saddid lisani waslul sakhimata qalbi Ameen Ya Rabbil Alameen. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We'll quickly review the ayat that we did 2 weeks ago of Surah Al-Imran. And inshallah, move on to the next lesson for today. So, the previous class we did intro to Surah Al-Imran, and also we did the comparison between Surah Al-Imran and Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay, they're sister surahs, and what were the similarities between them? So, inshallah, we'll not go in details regarding that, but rather we will go just review the ayat of last class. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alif Lam Mim. Alif Lam Mim, these are called the huruf al-muqatta'at, the disjointed letters, and the purpose of these are they are there's we don't know the meaning of them, and there are many different wisdoms that scholars have driven what is the reason that we don't know the meaning, but some of them are that to draw the attention of the person who's approaching the Quran, right? Something that is unknown. That's a human psychological thing. You are curious to know. So that's one way, linguistic way of drawing attention. And number two is, and most importantly, is to humble the reciter and the listener and the learner to tell them no matter how much knowledge of the world or the Quran a person may have, no matter how big of a scholar a person may be. Okay, even the prophets did not know the meaning. Even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the Sahabas did not know the meaning of that, right? So meaning this is no matter how learned or how close a person is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they can never claim to know the entire Quran because you don't know the meaning of these ayat. And of course, today also our lesson will dive into such ayat as well. We'll talk about them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins Surah Al-Imran by introduction to himself. Okay, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. Who is Allah? Allah is the one, there is no ilah. Okay, because and how is he, there is no ilah, no other ilah, because everything in the world needs something to keep it going, right? And ilah, what is the characteristic or the attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that he is al-hayy, meaning he is ever living. Okay, something that never ceases to never he that never that is always existing. And these are the questions sometimes that the mind goes to, especially children ask this question: who created Allah? Right? Who created Allah? And this because that's a human mind, human mindset is such that something needs to be created. And that just shows you the limitation of the creation. Because creation always thinks like the creation, right? But because the creator, he's the one who is, oh, he was always there and he will always remain. Okay, and this is his quality in Al-Qayyum, the one who sustains everything. Okay, so because of these qualities, he is the Ilah, and the word Allah is the specific name for Allah. Okay, so the special name for Allah. In fact, when we refer to it, like if you're talking about like in terms of learning and teaching, we don't say Allah means this. We say the word Allah means this because that's just a way to refer with respect. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he introduces himself, nothing in the world, okay, exists by itself except by Allah making it to sustain and to exist and to keep it going. Okay, and these Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyum, what are these names? These are one of the greatest names of Allah. And you call by these names, the dua of a person is not rejected. How do we know? Also, because from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, that whenever he was in a difficult situation, he would say, Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, bi rahmatika astaghith. Okay, these names of Allah also show the humility of the creation when you refer to Allah, that Allah is, you are the one who is ever living, you are the one who sustains everything. Okay, Nazzala alayka al-kitab. Now we know we are given introduction to the author. We know who the author is. The author is Allah, right? The author is the one who is ever living. The author is the one who sustains everything, who doesn't need anyone. Okay, except the whole creation, living, non-living, is dependent on him. Okay, so now talking about the book. So this also is a way of giving extreme weightage to the book, because when you know the creator is so great, the author is so great, then imagine the book. نزل عليك الكتاب بالحق. He has revealed to you, O Prophet, the book بالحق. What? And so this book was revealed to who? Okay, on the heart of the prophet, little by little. Okay, nazzala, again, we learned in the previous lesson. Okay, nazzala versus anzalna. These are all this, just going a little bit into the Arabic here, the grammar. Anzalna is to come right, to come right away, to come down right away. So when we when we recite Surah Al-Qadr, we say inna anzalna. Okay, inna anzalnahu fi laylatul qadr. So Quran was revealed. Anzalna means revealed. So this talks about the anzala means the complete book is revealed. This means in the Lawh al-Mahfuz, so Quran, there's a master copy of the Quran up in the heavens. Okay, it's called the preserved tablet. Okay, from there on Laylatul Qadr, it came to the lowest heavens. That's one first step of revelation. Okay, and here nazala means to reveal bit by bit. So from the lowest heavens, bit by bit, over a course of 23 years, the Quran was revealed over upon the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. نزل عليك الكتاب بالحق. This kitab is haq. Haq means that everything in this book, okay, according to Imam Raghib, okay, scholar, okay, what was his definition of haq is that this kitab has everything that a person needs. Okay, everything that should be as it is. Bil haq, precise, the amount, the amount of the ayat, the context of the ayat, the wording of the ayat, when they were revealed, everything is precise, bil haq. Okay, so based on complete precision. Okay, this book was revealed, and what did this book do? مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ. So this book confirmed what came before it. What came before this? Meaning the previous books. Okay? مصدقا لما بين يديه وأنزل التوراة والإنجيل. So this, what were the books revealed before? Were the Torah and the Injil, and this Quran confirms these revelations. Meaning, how does it confirm? Meaning, firstly, it is the final book. Okay, it confirms that those books were also from Allah. Allah is also telling that, and this again, you have to keep the context of Surah Ale-Imran in mind, as we learned in the first session, that this ayah was when were these ayat revealed? When the delegation from Najran, okay, those who were the Nasara, the Christians, they came. So you have to think that Allah is telling them that this book kitab is also from the same creator who sent you the previous books. Okay, the Old Testament, which is the Torah, and the New Testament on the Bible, which is the Injil. Okay, so this book confirms the previous books, meaning the revelation. And what does it confirm? What else? So that it does not mean that everything right now, the current that we have, the books, everything is right. No, because of whatever reason that there were the alterations and stuff. So, what is the prophetic way to approach these books is neither to accept everything and neither to reject everything. That's what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he commanded us, neither you accept everything, neither you reject everything. Because you don't know which is, yes, for comparative studies, and especially when you're talking to the people of the book, it's good to study these books so you know what's there. Okay, so, and also, Quran proved the truth, musaddiqan lima, what was also proved the truth about prophethood. In the previous books, the truth about the coming of, or the news about coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was also revealed in these books. So it also confirms that as well. Okay, and what is this book? This book من قبل هدى للناس. Okay, previously, so why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send these books? Because he did not just create us and leave us, and to leave us to fetch by ourselves. He could have, he's the creator, he can do anything, but because of his mercy he gave us these books, and to every nation came guidance. Okay, and guidance were sent and messengers were sent. So these books were given as huda, as huda linnas, as guidance. Wa anzal al furqan, and also this furqan here refers to the Quran. Another word for the Quran is al furqan. Furqan is the one, it literally means to differentiate what is truth and what is falsehood. But in the world that lives, that defines what's right for us, what's wrong for us, and what you should be doing based on different cultures. Every century, actually, in fact, every few years, the rules change. Things that were, rejected a long time ago, or a few years ago, or even a decade ago, are now accepted by people. But how do we live our lives? Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our code of life as a believer is what Allah has decided. That's what the Quran tells us. Okay, the Quran is Al-Furqan, the one that differentiates between what is right and what is wrong. Okay, so it distinguishes وَنَزَّلَ الْفُرْقَانَ وَنَزَّلَ الْفُرْقَانَ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ. But those people who reject the ayat of Allah, who they know this is the right, but because of their own, they know this is right thing to do, and this is not the right thing to do. This is how I have to live my life, and this is not how I should be living my life. So those people who kafara, okay, also means to hide. When a person knows the truth and they deliberately hide it, even in themselves, some law is hard for a command of Allah is hard to follow, so you just don't follow. That means literally means to hide. I don't want to make that change in my life. Adopting this way of earning, or adopting this way of living, or dressing up a certain way. I just like to do that. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when you know the creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduces who Allah is, Al-Hayy, Al-Qayyum. Then he tells he is the one who gave the book. He is the one who also previously gave the books. Who did he give the book to? To a messenger who's the most truthful. After knowing all of this information, when a person knowing this and they still reject, then for that person is lahum azabun shadid. For this person is a great azab. And this azab is not just the azab of the hereafter. For this person is also azab in the dunya. What is the azab of dunya? When the heart becomes hard, when the words of guidance, words of Quran no longer affect the heart. Like one is listening, but then once they're out of that environment, or that learning, the class, they're back to their usuals. So that is one of the greater azab of Allah. And why does this azab come? When a person doesn't want to change. For the one who kafaru, for the kufr, it's not just that someone is a kafir or a disbeliever, he's not a Muslim. No. Here it also means people who don't follow the commands of Allah. And then we're like, why am I not changing? Why I learn all of this book, I learn all of these things, but my life choices are still the same outside of those classes. Okay, so here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says for them, is a great punishment, and a punishment not just in the hereafter, the punishment in the world. And if you look at the past nations, look at Quraysh. Who, what happened after the conquest of Makkah? Did Quraysh even exist after that? What about the tribal leaders? They were all gone. They were all vanished, all destroyed. The people of the book, what happened with them? We learned the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Yahud, they were exiled for from Medina, from Khaybar. Khaybar was a nearby area. They had lush green gardens and fortresses and whatnot. But the people who reject, they not only face difficulty in the hereafter, extreme difficulty, but also failure in the world. And the biggest failure in the world is not loss of dunya, that and not loss of izzah and honor. That is a failure. The biggest failure is when the heart becomes hard, because losing dunya is not that valuable to Allah. So when a person loses the dunya, it's not a big deal. But what is valuable is iman. When a person's heart becomes hard, that means unless the heart opens until before death, otherwise this is great loss in the hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Wallahu azizun, ayah number 4. Okay. Lahum azabun shadid, wallahu azizun zuntiqam. Allah is almighty and capable of punishment. Meaning, where can you run? Zuntiqam, intiqam meaning to take revenge or to be capable of punishing. Okay, Allah can do that, okay, whenever He wants to whoever He wants. But because of His mercy and His compassion towards mankind, He has given them all the tools to survive in this world and to go through this test. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَخْفَى عَلَيْهِ شَيْءٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا فِي السَّمَاءِ. Surely nothing on the earth or the heavens is hidden from Allah. Meaning that no matter how much a person, even after doing this, they try to run away. I'm going to go live my life the way I want. Going back to the previous ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says nothing is hidden from the heavens, nothing is hidden from Allah in the heavens and the earth, meaning where will you run away? You can disobey Allah, but where will you run away? So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stating that this, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, because of His qualities, because of His divine attributes, okay, because He knows everything, okay, and because He is the creator, there is no way anything can be hidden. So human beings should never be in a delusion. And when does this delusion comes? When a person continues to disobey Allah and they think nothing is happening to me. Now I'm not getting caught. When they continue to disobey Allah, especially in private, and they think that nothing is happening. They do once, they do twice, and they think, okay, everything is all good. But what is happening? Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the previous ayah says, Wallahu azizun zuntiqam, meaning Allah is very capable of punishing a person. He knows when to do it. And even in the world, if you look, if all the places that there where people are oppressing other people, you think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot stop them? But it's a delusion of human being that, oh, I can do this and get away. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Inna Allah la yakhfa alayhi shay'un fil ardi wala fis sama. Surely nothing on the earth or the heavens is hidden from Allah. And Allah has knowledge of everything. This ayah also shows the knowledge of Allah. No matter how educated a person can be, right? No matter how many degrees that a person have, can a person claim to have knowledge of everything? That's just not possible. No matter, even if a person specializes in they still will specialize in one field. They cannot claim to know everything. So again, this is the quality of a creator. The thing is, people do not realize, sometimes they say, this ayah, this command of Allah doesn't make sense. This is actually a big thing, a big claim to make. What do you mean? These are the words of the creator. It doesn't make sense because of a human being's weakness and incapability and lack of interest and lack of effort. not because there's a na'uzubillah a flaw in the ayat of Allah. So because these things should be taken very seriously, and these things should not be made this not should not be said casually. Okay. And keeping this in mind, nothing is hidden from Allah and stuff. And basically all of these ayat point towards what? Okay, point towards the fact that the kitab of Allah, the book of Allah, is the one which leads a person to true success. Okay, the kitab of Allah is the one that leads a person to true success, because he is the one who created. He is the one from nothing can be hidden from. And human beings can think from a, and there's again a great delusion of a person that I can do this, I can get away, and I don't need it. But end of the day, every single person is heading towards their grave. Every single human being in this world. That is their ultimate destination. No matter which route they take, which road they take, they're going towards Allah. Okay, ayah number 6. هو الذي يصوركم في الأرحام. He is the one who يصوركم. Okay, يصور. Okay, sawwara yusawwiru means to design something with precision, to make something with precision. So he is the one who yusawwirukum fil arhami kayfa yasha. He creates in the wombs of your mothers as he wills, meaning the fetus in the wombs of the mother. La ilaha illa huwa al-azizul hakim. There is no God worthy of worship except him, al-aziz, almighty and all wise. Meaning this is again, and all of these again, looking at the previous ayah, are also talking about Isa alayhi salam. Because again, think of the group was these ayat were being revealed to, the context of the ayat. And here, when Isa alayhi salam, people would claim divinity to him. No, he doesn't know everything, because only Allah knows. Right? Nothing is hidden. But Isa alayhi salam was just a human being. And number two, Isa alayhi salam cannot create. He was created inside his own mother's womb. Okay, so here Allah is saying He creates in the arham the 3 layers of darkness inside the womb of the mother. Okay, and then there are 3 abdominal layers, like the uterus, and I'm forgetting the other 2 layers, and that's literally how the baby is inside the womb of the mother. And Yusawwirukum also includes the how every single human being is created different. Every single person, no matter how identical people are, they're still different. Their capabilities are different. Even their fingerprints are different. Okay, so this, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is basically again keep referring back to one thing. If this is my Rabb, then He is the one who made this book. So keep reminding, He made, look, we seldom ponder upon these things. I mean, all of us look different. Every person's, even their physical features are different. Forget about the mental, their minds and their psychology and their intellect. That's and their talents, and that's one thing. Like everyone's like nose is different. Eyes are different. Eyebrows are different. Fingerprints are different. Lips are different, right? Children, when siblings look different, right? We have identical twins in the class. They look different, right? So this is the creation of Allah, right? So Allah subhanahu is saying that this, and not just this, He creates in the womb, He protects in the womb, okay? And subhanAllah, how the child is even protected in the womb of the mother, that itself, the mother goes about doing every normal activity, and no matter which part of the world the mother is, no matter what she's going through, ease or difficulty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects the baby, the fetus in the mother, fetus in the womb of the mother, and makes it grow, okay, according to, and not just the growth, the physical growth, the nourishment is being provided for the baby, right? The fluid in the amniotic sac, in which the baby is, that does not mix up with the blood of the mother, right? So all of this is being taken care of. And on top of that, other things are being decided, like the risk of the baby. right? The risk of the child that is to be born, the life, their death, how much they will receive. All of this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So subhanallah, who can do this but none other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Right? هو الذي أنزل عليك الكتاب. Again, He is the one who revealed to you, meaning, O Prophet, al-kitab, the book, meaning the Quran. Now they are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to describe two types of ayat that are there in the Quran and two types of people. Okay? So this is something to pay a bit of attention. Two types of ayat in the Quran. Okay? The one type of ayat are minhu ayatum muhkamat. Muhkamat comes from hukum. Hukum are clear ayat. Straightforward commands. Okay, in the Quran. Okay? Hunna umul kitab. These are the foundation of the book. Meaning these are the basis of the Quran. For example, what are the muhkamat? Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, let's say Surah Al-Fatiha, Ihdina Surat, Ihdina Surat al-Mustaqim, guide us to the straight path. What is the straight path? Surat al-Ladina anamta alayhim, the path that is given to those you blessed, okay? And not the path, we don't want to be on the path of Ghairil Maghdub that received your anger, and Walad Dalin and the ignorant one. These are like straightforward. Like, this is the right path, this is the way, this is what you have to follow. Allah subhanahu says in the different parts of the Quran, this is the sun. Ash-shamsu wal-qamar. Sun is sun, moon is the moon. These are straightforward, clear ayat. Okay, or certain rulings in the Quran. Okay, refrain from adultery and alcoholism and all of different things, right? These are all straightforward ayat. So these are muhkamat, and these are majority of the ayat in the Quran. Okay, وَأُخَرَ مُتَشَابِهَاتٍ. Okay, these ayat, so muhkamat are precise ayat, and there are another category of ayat in the Quran, which are called mutashabihat. So muhkamat versus mutashabihat. Muhkamat are clear-cut majority of the ayat of the Quran. And then there are ayat which are called mutashabihat. Mutashabihat comes from shubh, which means something that is ambiguous, something that needs interpretation, something that can have more than one meaning. Okay? And something we might not know the meaning of. Now, for example, what are the mutashabihat in the Quran? Okay, example in the Quran, like, okay, Yadullah, hand of Allah is over their hands. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Fat, hand of Allah. Over their hands, meaning human beings. We know human beings and their hands. Well, what does it mean by hand of Allah? How does it look? How is it? Is it physically this thing? So these are mutashabihat, things we don't know. We don't know. Okay. Other examples, alif lam mim. These are mutashabihat. These are huruf al-muqattat. We don't know the meaning. Alif lam ra. All of these are also, so these letters that are there, these are also examples of mutashabihat. Okay, mutashabihat are ayat about Jannah and Jahannam. No one has seen Jannah and Jahannam. It's up to any person's imagination. Where Jannah is described, Jahannam is described. Qabr, what's happening inside the grave. Okay, how the angels look, for example. So things of ghaib are also ayat talking about the ghaib. These are also called mutashabihat. So these are just some examples, okay, of that. Okay, in the Quran. Now, what here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that some people, فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ زَيْغٌ. For some people in whose heart, so these are two types of ayat in the Quran. Okay, hopefully that's a bit clear what type. And then there are two types of people too. Okay, there are some people who have zayg, meaning whose hearts have disease, whose hearts are deviant, meaning they want to cause problems. They come to the Quran to deviate people. They want to cause issues between people. Their purpose of approaching the Quran is not for guidance. is not to know Allah's book. The purpose of approaching the Quran is to find, na'uzubillah, find faults in the Quran. So Allah subhanahu says, فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ زَيْغٌ فَيَتَّبِعُونَ مَا تَشَابَهَ منه ابتغاء الفتنة. For these people, those with deviant heart, follow these mutashabihat ayat, seeking to spread doubt. Okay, ابتغاء الفتنة وابتغاء تأويلي, and through false interpretations. Meaning they'll be like, but uh, Allah SWT doesn't say this about Jahannam. What, and they'll go and they'll ask, what do you think this is going to happen in Jahannam? Or this is, or some people they go like, Jannah and Jahannam are metaphorical. It just means a good place and a bad place. Jannah and Jahannam could be, they don't believe in the hereafter. They go like, it could mean Jannah, a good place is a Jannah in this dunya, and a bad place is Jahannam. So taking things metaphorically, things like that, don't believing. And if you go into Surah, in the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, what is the quality of the muttaqun? Is alladhina yu'minuna bil ghaib. They believe, have iman on the ghaib. Has anyone seen the ghaib? They don't know what's the unseen. But that is a requirement of iman, that you believe in the unseen. You believe that is there, it exists. Or people have doubts about the day of judgment. Or how will people be gathered? Will they stand like this? So different they will start asking these different questions, and the purpose of asking these questions is also trying to deviate other people, to create doubt between other people. Okay, so they will keep going. They'll be obsessed with mutashabihat. Okay, what do you mean by Allah's hand? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a creation. Then what does hand refer to? Can he? So you're not going to things and they're deeply, deeply, they keep obsessing about it, right? So things that these people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, for them, their heart is deviant. Meaning the heart is not behind. They really don't want to know the true meaning of the ayat, these type of ayat. They want to use these ayat to attack Islam, or they want to use these ayat to deviate other people. They have a disease of the heart. Okay, so for these people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ إِلَّا اللَّهُ. The meaning of these mutashabihat, like huruf al-muqatta'at, like these ayat about Jannah and Jahannam and attributes of Allah, or how does Allah look, and all of these things, only Allah knows. Okay, وَمَا تَأْوِيلُهُ illallah, only Allah knows the true meaning of that. And in this part, okay, you can take it down that scholars have three opinions about the mutashabihat. First opinion is that only Allah knows the meaning of this. Only Allah knows the true meaning. Number two, the second opinion is that the second opinion is that one can try to interpret based on their iman and knowledge, like high-level scholars. But based on a lot, and when a person learns, then we will finish this ayah and we will learn about a certain category of people called ar-rasikhun al-ilm, the people who are firm on knowledge, okay, with strong iman and who continue to seek knowledge. With knowledge, Allah subhanahu also opens the doors of one's mind, and you understand the ayah more and more. Even yourself, you look from when you started the Quran to now, if you go back to a previous ayah and you learn it again, what you have already done, you will learn something different out of it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the mind of people who are learning this book. So the second opinion is that some people who are, connected with Allah, they have strong understanding of the Quran and they have strong iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps them to know, or to some extent, again, not everything. Okay, and third opinion is that about the mutashabihat is that all of the mutashabihat, this is a third opinion, that the mutashabihat ayat can be divided into three groups. This is a third opinion. They can be divided into three groups. One group is that some ayahs only Allah knows the interpretation. Like could be the haruf al-muqatta'at, no one can ever figure out. no matter how much they're deriving. Some scholars do different things, but this they could be just this is one. Okay, number two, this is all part of the third opinion, by the way. Okay, third opinion, just you can like draw or something. Third opinion is that take all of the mutashabihat and put them into one, two, three, or A, B, C. Okay, categories. A are some ayat that only Allah knows. B are ayat whose interpretation a person needs an external source. Meaning, 1400 years ago, scientific revolution was not so much. Certain ayat of the Quran, they were, surprising. Like, let's say even the layers of darknesses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes three layers of darkness. Now, the people in the past did not know that, in the womb there are three layers of in which the baby is. But now with the scientific interpretation and with science, now for that time it might have been mutashabihat, but now it's clear. And now it's become clear, so some ayat they open up the meaning, and of course the scholars are the ones who derive it with the scientific or this thing. Their interpretation becomes open. They no longer remain with the shabihat. Okay, it becomes more evident. And the third opinion, the category C is that only rasikhun al-ilm can know. Okay, now let's go on. Who are the people who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says? So first type of people are the ones who have deviant hearts. Okay, and the second kind of people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالرَّاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ. Who are the rasikhun? Rasakha means well grounded in knowledge, like anchored in knowledge. Who are these people? These are the people who are strong, who are steadfast on the path of Quran. These are rasikhun al-ilm. These are not just people who have interest in learning the Quran, or they're like, I have free time, let's just go here listen a little bit. These are people who are serious in the Quran, who dedicate their time to the Quran, who want to learn this book. Sorry, the path of knowledge, okay, is the ultimate path to closeness of Allah. Okay, and the path of gaining knowledge is one of the hardest paths. If a person is called towards volunteering and things like that, it's actually easier to do that. Why then learn the Quran? Because learning the Quran is the ultimate way, or gaining knowledge is the ultimate way to connect to Allah. Yes, other things those are secondary, but this is the ultimate guide. So this path is the hardest. People start the thing, people start learning the book, but many people falter. Many people are not able to keep up. And that's because this path is difficult. Okay, it requires one's physical presence, mental presence, sacrifice of time and energy, and a lot of this path is filled with a lot of sacrifice. Okay, and as a person treads on this path, it becomes even, attack of shaitan even becomes more. Because shaitan does not want a person to get closer to Allah. And the ultimate way of getting closer to Allah, people want to say, can you suggest some books to read? Yes, those are supplementary and secondary. If you're not learning the Quran, you're just reading the other books, that's not going to increase a person's iman. Those are secondary. But first and foremost, a person should be learning the book. This is shaitan's, easy way. He'll if he wants to remove a person, he'll detract them. Okay, you know what? I will do this thing, or I will do something. I'll volunteer. These are great, but that should be secondary. To primary should be learning the book of Allah. And shaitan will target the primary source. Similarly, people or people will pray tarawih, but they will not focus on the fard. Because the secondary things start seeming big, and the primary thing, which is the salah, seems like, or people will say, I'm doing this work, I'm doing this good thing, and I'm doing that good thing. But the primary thing, salah, is being lost. So primary is what? Primary is salah, primary is Quran. Okay, so these are the people, the rasikhun al-ilm, they are steadfast. The quality of rasikhun al-ilm is steadfastness. They're steadfast, and this doesn't just come like that. This comes with commitment, this comes with effort, this comes with sincerity, this comes with dua, asking Allah sincerely, oh Allah, help me understand your book. These are the rasikhun al-ilm. And who are the people of the past? You know, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made dua for Ibn Abbas. Abdullah ibn Abbas, he made a dua for him. He was a young child. He was 10 years old. He used to sit in the gathering of the Prophet. And Prophet really admired and loved that. He made dua for him. What did he make? He said to him, Allahumma faqihu fid deen. Oh Allah, give him deep understanding of deen, religion. Wa'allimhu ta'wil. And teach him ta'wil, interpretation of the Quran. And it is said about Ibn Abbas, because of the dua of the Prophet, that he was the first one to understand Quran in such depths. And there wouldn't be an ayah of the Quran about which he wouldn't know. Like he would know where it was revealed, its context, when it was revealed, the time, the state of the Prophet, everything. Because he was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is being grounded in the Quran. Okay, and even there are many tafsir of the Quran, many teachers of the Quran, but there's some teachers you learn from. It's like as if your brain's like, it's the same thing. It's the same words of Allah, but it feels like the mind is just opening. Or you just think about, whoa, I never even thought of it like that. So these are special ni'mah, blessing that Allah SWT gives to certain people. And blessing comes because of their sacrifices and their effort. Okay, about the people of the past, Ibn Taymiyyah, okay, sometimes when he wanted to know the tafsir of an ayah of the Quran, he would recite the Quran multiple times, sometimes even 90 times, just to know the tafsir of one ayah of the Quran. Imagine us. So Allah, this is special status Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives to people who put effort. Main thing, rasikhun al-ilm, they are steadfast and effort, lot of hard work, lot of effort. Okay, Imam Shafi'i, he used to read the Quran sometimes around about 300 times to know one thing, just one thing. Okay, Ibn Taymiyyah, he used to say this dua. Okay, Ya Muallima Ibrahim, Allimni, O teacher of Ibrahim. And he would cry sometime reading because he's trying to know a meaning of an ayah, he's not able to. So he was sometimes keep making this dua from morning to evening. He would say, Ya Muallima Ibrahim, Allimni, O teacher of Ibrahim, teach me. And Ya Mufahima Sulaiman, Fahimni, O giver of understanding to Sulaiman. Fahim means intellect, understanding. Fahimni, grant me understanding. And he would keep crying, and this just shows the passion for something. It is something like a person who is passionate about something. What do they do? They spend hours in a lab. They want to find the cure. They keep doing it, they keep experimenting, they exhaust themselves, right, day and night. So similar, when a person has that passion, they don't just take it easy. They are really, really focused on that. Okay, and knowledge that is gained with disinterest and burden as a burden is knowledge that is just not beneficial for a person. That's not the knowledge that changes a person. Okay, and it is not a joke to be rasikhun al-ilm. Okay, whoever works harder, they get that status. Okay, Imam Muslim. Okay, you have Sahih Muslim, right? Like Sahih Bukhari, you have Sahih Muslim. So Imam Muslim, how did he pass away? So basically, one, he wanted to know the meaning of a hadith. So he took a bag of dates and he went to his library. And he was um studying, and he was, eating the date. And that's how he passed away. Perhaps Allahu alam, like maybe the sugar, he was old age, perhaps. But basically, he was so much into the study, he didn't even realize, and he lost his life that way. So, again, time effort, sacrifice, and sacrificing one's nafs desires. Okay, so these are the people. And if you take the analogy, the treasures like pearls. Pearls are not found on the surface of the sea. You gotta go dive deeper into the sea, and diving deeper into the sea, that requires it's hard, it's difficult, requires a lot of stamina, requires a lot of effort, and it also includes many dangers as well. The deeper you go in the sea, there's less levels of oxygen stuff, but what do you get at the end? You get pearls, right? So same is the path of knowledge. Okay, and when الراسخون ilm, have this knowledge, what do? Okay, والراسخون في العلم, what do they say? يقولون آمنا, they say we believe, آمنا به كل من عند ربنا, everything is from Allah. راسخون العلم, they don't obsess over متشابهات. They believe, they're like, we know everything is from Allah. All of the ayat are from Allah. And if Allah gives me understanding of something, that is through His mercy upon me. And I have to work hard for it. Okay? وَمَا يَذَّكَّرُ إِلَّا أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. And none will be mindful of this except the people of ulul albab, the people who have real intellect, real reason. Now, as a person gains more knowledge, again, the attack of shaitan is an attack of nafs is a lot. Sometimes the most arrogant people are the people who are knowledgeable in religion. Well, perhaps they bring a bad name to religious community. Because so one there has to be rasikhun al-ilm are aware. Okay, so what do? They make a dua. Rabbana, ayah number 8. Rabbana la tuzi' qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana. They say, our Lord, do not let our hearts deviate after you have guided us. Meaning being guided is one thing, and remaining on guidance is another thing. Okay? So they because of the attack of shaitan and the nafs, nafs can make a person think, nah, I know I am more righteous than this person. That's why many people, they fall into a trap. They have a lot of knowledge of the Quran too, but the action is otherwise, because their nafs comes in between, and that makes them arrogant or deviant. Okay, so here they make this dua, oh Allah. So they keep themselves controlled as well. They seek Allah's help as they're gaining the knowledge. They seek, oh, Allah's help. Oh Allah, clear my heart. Keep my intentions pure only for you. Keep my knowledge only for you. And oh Allah, bring this knowledge into action. These are rasikhun al-ilm. This is the meaning of this dua. Okay. Rasulullah, Salama was asked, Salama radiallahu anha, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, she was asked, which dua does the Prophet make the most? Which dua did he make the most? And she informed, he used to recite, Ya muqallib al-qulubi, thabbit qalbi ala din. Thabbit, meaning he's the Prophet of Allah. He's making the dua, oh Allah, keep my heart steadfast on the deen. Meaning heart change, qalb changes, internal states changes. Sometimes a person might get irritated. Sometimes a person might take learning the book is becoming difficult, is becoming hard. Why so much? Why too much? I have this. So that's why too, when a rasikhun al-ilm, you understand. You ask Allah's help and you realize, no. This is my nafs, this is the attack of shaitan. And one should also be aware, and we will learn in Surah Ale-Imran the attack of shaitan on the righteous, or people who are trying to walk on this path. Because the one who is learning the book, it's not even one shaitan. A group of shayateen attack that person. And that person, how can they fight that? With their iman, with being steadfast on this path of Allah. Okay, so in the again, these are all self-analysis. All of the Quran is self-analysis, but particularly this is for us. Okay, in the beginning, whenever there is learning the Quran, it's exciting, feels very nice. As we learn, hearts open up, things become more clear. You get to know this is what you shouldn't be doing. and then you become before, a person who is ignorant, they're enjoying their life. When you learn the Quran, you stop being heedless. You're not no longer just like, hilly-billy going around like that. No, you become more aware. And now there's a worry about the hereafter too. So there will be difficulty. There will be difficulty on this path. You will feel conflicted on many things. And that's a good sign, right? So a person should, and imagine the day of exam. What happens on the day of exam for a person? Person is very exhausted. The hardest exam. You just want to go home and sleep. You want to rest. Or like, finally it's over. But no, for a believer, every day is a day of exam. This life is a test. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي الْكَبَدِ. Allah SWT created human being in difficulty. You think the people who are not walking this path of knowledge are in ease? No. The people who are not walking the path of deen are in ease? No. They are in their own difficulties. Their life, in fact, the greatest joy of the person, the rasikhun al-ilm, they feel is contentment of the heart. The happiness, the joy they feel when they learn the Quran, when they sit in those gatherings, the contentment overall, even when things are not going good. But on the other hand, the one who is not on this path, they're still facing difficulty, but their hardest difficulty is the restlessness of the heart. The heart is not content. Right? Imagine living a life of doubt and confusion. That's such a difficult, that is a miserable life, right? So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, so the dua, رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا وَهَبْ لَنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً, and grant us from you. وَهَبْ لَنَا. Okay, hiba means to give forgiveness. وَهَبْ لَنَا, give us from you. So راسخون العلم, the people who are steadfast, well grounded in knowledge, they don't think that my knowledge and my actions are going to save me from the hellfire. They say وَهَبْ لَنَا. You see how much humility? Because they know min ladunka rahma, mercy. Rahma, in the Quran, whenever we come across the word rahma, one of the meanings of rahma will always be Jannah. Because the Jannah is rahma of Allah, right? So they ask Allah, oh Allah, give us rahma, give us your Jannah. Innaka antal wahhab. You are the one who gives everything, all the bounties, all forgiveness. So wahhab here, what are the hab lana includes forgiveness and also Jannah of Allah. Okay, and Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da is hadaytana. What is hidayah? Last, we'll end on this. What is guidance? Guidance, literal meaning of guidance is, okay, to show the right path, to take a person through that right path, and thirdly, to make them reach the destination. This is guidance. When you ask Allah, ihdina surat al-mustaqim, this one should note it down, and that's the definite. What is guidance? To show the right path, to take a person through that right path, and thirdly, to make them reach the right path. 3 steps. Like, you're going for a tour. Okay, versus, okay, they point out that's the room you have to go to. The next level is the guide takes you along. Not just says, give verbal instructions, but takes you, I'll guide you, I'll take you to the room. And then takes the person to the room. This is a small example. That's guidance. Okay? Not just showing, not just telling, but leading. So when we ask Allah for guidance, these are the 3 things we're asking. Oh Allah, show us the right path. Take us through that path. Assist us. And then reach us. Let us reach a destination. What is the destination? Destination is the rahmah of Allah, the Jannah. So inshallah, bismillah, we will conclude our lesson for today here. A lot of, and this is something dua we should make for ourselves. رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا. That Allah SWT not just gives us guidance. We ask Allah, right? Every day we recite Surah Al-Fatiha and we ask, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. First, guide us to the right path. And here we're asking Allah, keep us on the right path. Don't misguide, don't lead us towards, let us not become deviant. Okay, after we have been guided. وَهَبْ لَنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. Inshallah, bismillah, we will end our lesson for today here. And we've also another before we end our class, just a quick announcement. Inshallah, Bismillah, from this Friday, we're talking about a lot of path. We have our course, the Dunya Detour, which is talking about Surah Al-Waqi'ah, okay, which is the surah that leads, that tells, that clarifies the path, that a path that a person should be, the reality of this world and the reality of the hereafter. Okay, so if we still have spots, so sisters, you can sign up for that. If anyone's able to share the flyer on the screen or the website, you can post the website in the group, in the chat. Okay, so you can sign up for the course. It's starting this Friday, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. You'll be half of the class will be about Sutul Waqia, tafsir of it, and half of the class will be ahadith. These are beautiful ahadith. These are called the heart softeners from Kitab al-Riqaq, which means the hadith that soften the heart. They talk about the reality of this world, reality of the hereafter. Okay, how to be beloved to Allah, how to be close to the Prophet. Beautiful ahadith. Okay, so we'll be learning these, and this is a 6 weeks course. 6 Fridays we will be having starting from this coming Friday. And she will be posting the encourage, and if you're not able to, then maybe encourage others around you to join. We do not value uh, um, the reward of sadaqah jariyah. We don't think, this is like easy reward. We're not doing anything, just simply sharing it with other people. So this is a beautiful thing, and also it's for brothers and sisters both. Okay, so brothers and sisters both will be having their sessions, and 13 plus. So both open, so families can join as well. A beautiful way is to learn with your family members, because then you can walk this path. You're on the same wavelength, right? Inshallah, bismillah. And also to support this, and we'll be providing booklets and books for the students of knowledge. You can support this work of knowledge. Again, this is also sadaqah jariyah. Each and every person who reads from the book, who learns from the words of the Quran, the hadith, the words of the Prophet, the people who have put, so you can give the gift of knowledge, okay, and support the printing of the books and all of that, and this can be sent any amount, okay, any sadaqah can be given to info@alfatinstitute.com, e-transfer. So barakallahu fikum, everyone. And inshallah, I hope to have this is happening in Misaga, in your hometown, in your neighborhood, so please, in your hood. So please join and benefit from this, but let's benefit from this opportunity together, inshallah bismillah. Okay. Anyone would like to share today's we have one side and then we'll go online. Yes.
I feel like a really important thing to learn is the importance of dua. There's so many specific duas that like Muslim duas that we should try and learn, and even maybe like Quranic duas that we should they're so small, they're so beneficial and important.
Yeah, an important thing is, as we're learning Surah Ale-Imran, as you mentioned, there are a lot of du'as, so it can be overwhelming. And when there's sometimes a lot of things, the person ends up doing nothing. So best is, as we're learning these du'as, start taking these du'as and incorporating in your daily du'as, inshallah. Yes. Lisa?
So whenever we're trying to obtain knowledge, if there's struggles in the way, we should see it as like a good thing because we're on the right path, and we shouldn't always we shouldn't question it as much why I'm always facing struggles or something.
Yeah, we should be happy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَرَاسِخُونَ الْعِلْمِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving it, He's describing two kinds of people, two types of people. So you're in the second category. It's a good thing. You should be happy about this. Just a small side from this. Once this is going off our thing, but one of the teachers was asked, some people have it so easy that their families support their deen, and I'm a revert. My family is not on deen. I have to do extra effort. I have to, how even to make me, even to perform salah, it's such a difficulty for me because my family members are not even believers or Muslims. So the teacher informed him, he's like, you know what? This is a good news. You're on the path of Sahabas. Sahaba's family members were not even, or are past of the prophets. Some of their family members were not in Deen. So you should be, instead of taking that thing as a difficulty, you should be happy that you're, going back to what, from the reflection, this is actually something to be happy about, right? Anyone else? Yes, Ron, you'd like to share?
It's like all our like every day of our life is going to be a test. And I think you mentioned this earlier is that like people of Deen, like we still have tests, but you said something like it's the way you look at the test which makes it look easier for you, is that that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is never going to put you in hardship more than you can bear. And it's always for a reason which you are being put in that test. So I think that just changes the perspective.
Yeah, and all of this drawing back to our lesson, this thought comes how? This thought comes through knowledge. So from this lesson, if something to take back is importance of knowledge and gaining knowledge. Nothing can beat knowledge and gaining the knowledge, especially of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes.
Yeah, we see like throughout the ayahs, like it mentions how high and how mighty Allah is. So we do work for Him, and we basically we seem tired. But we should think about it like this: that we should be doing more for Allah. Allah is so big, He's so great, and He will reward us for what we do.
Yes. Barakallahu fikum. Anyone online would like to share? Sister Maha, would you like to share?
I just wanted to thank you. It was very, very well taught. I just recently joined my second time, but I wanted to thank you very much for you are teaching and explaining everything.
Jazakumullah khair, barakallahu fikum. Inshallah, bismillah. So please keep in mind about the Friday course that we have. It's a 6 weeks course. It's just 6 Fridays. And, we could be spending time. It seems long, but it's definitely not long. Time just passes. And if you're not doing that, you'll be doing anything else. So what's better than the righteous company? Gaining knowledge, path of knowledge is the path of gaining reward. This is ibadah. You're performing ibadah as you're doing it, okay? So, barakallahu fikum. We'll end here. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.